So this screencast is to show you beach erosion and the various ways in which we try to mitigate or lessen the effects of weathering and erosion of the beach shoreline. But to start, you need to go to Edline. If you haven't done so already, go to Weathering, Erosion, and Deposition. Click on that. You're going to see a whole bunch of support materials. Go to the Longshore Drift link, click on that, and you will watch the YouTube video, the 2-minute YouTube video there beforehand, because you need to know what longshore drift is, and you might fancy the accent on the person doing the presentation. So you can do that later on, and we will start ours right now. So in this amazing set of animations that you're going to see, you have the ocean in blue and the beach in yellow. So you are looking at the direction of longshore drift on the beach, and you go to the beach dressed as a Canadian mounted police, because that's the only person this program has in its gallery, which is unusual. Actually, it's not true. There's an astronaut too, but I thought out of the two, this was the best. But I know a lot of you kids like to dress up like Canadian mounted police and go down to the beach, so it kind of fits, actually, if you really think about it. So this longshore drift that's going on here, as the water moves in this direction, what will happen is large parts of sand material would get carried away, weathered, and then eroded away. And so, given enough time, the beach itself would be severely eroded, and obviously that is not a good thing. So what we tried to do is we tried to build these barriers. And you've probably seen them before if you look around at the beach. They're made out of rocks oftentimes. Sometimes they're made out of wood. Sometimes they try to make them look nicer than what they really are. And so what they are doing is, in an effort to try to prevent this from happening from this beach, the sand moving, which probably should have done like a different pile of sand, but what happens is you might get some erosion of the sand material, let's say over here. It gets picked up by the waves coming in, and the longshore drift is going, kind of blocked it here, is going to the right. Okay. And so then what would happen is the material that left over here, as the waves are coming in and then moving out and coming in, moving out, and following the longshore drift, they would hit this divider, this large divider that's perpendicular to the beach, and it would slow down the water enough that instead of getting erosion, we get what? Deposition. So you would get deposition on this side of that area. And then the same thing would hold true over here. You might have a large piece of material that gets weathered and eroded away, and then you'll get a depositional pattern much like this here on this side of it. Now they call these groins. In that longshore drift thing, you might have seen they spelled it G-R-O-Y-N-E-S, and then we spell it here G-O-G-O. What am I talking about? G-R-O-I-N-S. So these are done in an effort to slow down the water velocity and then increase deposition and reduce the amount of erosion. So that's that. Another thing that they build as well are breakwaters. They're not attached to the beach themselves, and they work in kind of two ways. If you look, you could still get erosion of beach material here and here. Probably, would be significantly impacted. But in this area, the breakwater itself protects that part of the beach. And also, what ends up happening is, when you get erosion of the material over here, the wave picks it up. It comes back. When it hits the breakwater, the water slows down a little bit, and then you'll oftentimes get a nice little depositional pile because of the breakwater that's there. And then what winds up happening is, rather than taking sand, trying to find the sand, or going miles and miles away, you literally can take the sand and redistribute it here, take the sand, redistribute it here, and then so you're able to maintain the beach a lot easier. The same thing holds true with the groin. So in this case, they would take the sand that was over here and they would move it here, right? With this, you'll get more erosion over here, and then you can just, it's a lot easier to maintain the beach if you just have to move it a couple of 100 feet rather than trying to find it in the ocean and getting piles of it and moving it miles and miles and miles. So these are the various ways in which we try to control the erosion process that's happening at the beach. And then going back to Edline, you can see that there's an animation showing you breakwaters, the way they function. And you can see that the sand, the deposition is occurring over here, the erosion is occurring over here. And you can see the drift, all that fun stuff. And then there's also one for an animation for groins. So they build the groin, you get erosion over here, and you get deposition on this side. The sand's being removed from over here, depositing over here, and then it continues on down this way. And here's a typical Regions question about the material that was presented. So you can pause it right now, read through all of this. Don't forget about the compass rose in the bottom over here. It's important in order for you to be able to answer the question. So pause it, read it, and think about your answer. So the answer would be letter B, wider on the eastern side of the groin, because your longshore drift is going this way. The sand gets picked up over here, hits the groin and gets deposited. It would be deposited on the eastern side of the groin. We'd have erosion occurring over here, and since there are no more groins, you wouldn't have that depositional pattern anywhere other than on the east side of that groin. I hope you enjoyed this screencast, and the magic word is applesauce. So tomorrow when you come to class, you could just use the word applesauce, and then I know that you watched the screencast. So hopefully you enjoyed it, and it doesn't require you to eat applesauce. You just have to know that the magic word is applesauce, for what it's worth. Have a good day. Bye. Or a good night, or good evening, or a good dinner. And enjoy dressing up as a Canadian Mounted Police. Alright, so before we go, just to prove my point, watch. I'm going to type in the word people. This is the clip art for this program. And if I click on it, I go to images. My choices are an astronaut or a Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Those are the two that they chose to have in their clip art. Alright. Alright, pretty solid decision. Smell you later.